Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by. This is an X-ray shot of Venus. What's around Venus are many, many fragments of asteroids, celestial objects. You can see them there. They're bright, they're like stars, they're like planets. They have great distances apart from them because just a finger length between two stars here, we're talking about many light years apart, most definitely being this close too. Now, another realization that I just absolutely made, and I'm very happy to and overwhelmed to have seen is that I don't know anything about this, but I think I found something that looks like an umbilical cord leaving the Vega star, and it's connected to the nebulae that's underneath it somehow. It's absolutely amazing. These stars, when they're born out of the nebulae, they must remain connected somehow through this, you'll see later, this spiraling field, like a tornado, like a black hole, just a tunnel of light. Here it is. Look at the bottom of Vega star. It is connected, it's reaching into the nebulae. This energy source or field or whatever it may be, cyclone of stellar winds. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or a professional, but you can definitely see that what looks like an umbilical cord is the word I'm going to use. Womb, umbilical cord. I'm sorry. I'm very Mother Nature-y. I mean, it's birth. It's giving birth. It's we call them planets and rocks, okay? Well, they're born, they form, okay? No, I've never tried talking to a star, and nor will I ever try talking to a star, not in public anyways. But to make a long story short, look at the attachment. I've never heard of this in my life. Do you see the beautiful line, white, white line going down to reach the nebulae? And it's all those solid planet-like objects. And look at the star formations on the right. They're just leaving the nebulae. I'm so curious to see what the shapes of these stars are, to see if they're perfectly formed, to see if there are any stellar disks, galaxies nearby. This is incredible. Vega star, absolutely beautiful. And you see the beautiful attachment of the umbilical cord. These stars, as we call them, were born inside of these nebulae. Vega star could have been born inside this nebulae. We weren't there, we don't know. But in reality, it's going to need the same minerals and nutrients that are inside, the same gases that are inside of this nebula to be able to survive because it was made from that. But to see this gaseous umbilical cord like a spiraling tunnel connecting the nebulae to the star. It was born inside the nebulae. It's just beautiful to get a picture of this. It's not pictures that are around that often, I don't think, but of course, I can't see every website. So, a bit about this beautiful star cluster. First of all, it is a globular cluster. We know it's in the constellation of Lyra. Look up the Hubble picture of Messier 56. That's all I'll say. Messier 50, check out mine after, okay? Look at the difference of what I got here from Earth sitting on my porch and what NASA got with a 20 centimeter aperture telescope. I have a 4-inch telescope. Okay, Messier 56, what is it? We're talking about a globular cluster, like I said, in the constellation of Lyra. Discovered by Charles Messier way back in 1779. Clusters located almost midway, along an imaginary line between B Cygni and Y Lyrae. Those are the two beautiful objects in the constellation of Lyra. M56 is at a distance of 32,900 light years from Earth and measures roughly 84 light years across. They measured it with a tape at one point, with a combined mass of 230,000 times that of the sun. That's staggering when you think of that. But its age, guys, we're talking about 13. This is what science says: 13.70 billion years. Vega star was also the first star after the sun to be photographed. This is also written in history. The first star other than the sun to be photographed. Can you think of it? As well as the first to have a clear spectrum recorded showing absorption lines for the first time. The star was the first single main sequence star other than the sun to be known to emit X-rays and is surrounded by a circumstellar debris disk similar to the Kuiper belt. This is around Vega star. Very interesting, and not many people know that. So here I'm very happy to show you guys different views and filterings. Look inside with X-ray filtering and infrared filtering. We can see the framing of the inside of the globular cluster. It's absolutely amazing. These supposed pathway looking like objects or rods that are connecting themselves, it's what's keeping the nebulae together, forming all the gases which are making these stars. I'm so fascinated with the nebulae. Although denser than the space surrounding them, most nebulae are far less dense than any vacuum created on Earth. A nebular cloud the size of Earth would have a total mass of only a few kilograms, they say. Many nebulae are visible due to their fluorescence caused by the embedded hot stars, while others are so diffuse they can only be detected with long exposures and special filters. I also use a neutral density filter, which permits me to play a lot with the exposure inside of the photo. I posted them right away. This is a beautiful view of Andromeda. I've looked it up myself on Wikipedia, Space, NASA. The photos of Andromeda, especially with the DSLR, are near impossibly seen in color this way. I use various filtering to even be able to see through some of the nebulae in Andromeda and the center binary star systems of some of these complex stars. Hey, look at this. You see the photo I have of Andromeda. It's right where the constellation of Andromeda meets the constellation of Perseus. You have Cassiopeia just over top, surrounded, Taurus. It's all these constellations are around Andromeda. And Andromeda, you'd think it was far up in the sky, which it is not. Here it is level with the horizon. It's just over my neighbor's house. It's that low. It's below the horizon. And this is the star 1 Perseus. It's not a star, but like I said, they use these references as stars. But inside of these stars, there could be galaxies, there could be entire solar systems as big as the ones we have here, and even bigger. This is 1 Perseus. Really happy to get a very close shot and color, and to see the stars that are even further out behind this. Guys, do you know how far this is? We're talking thousands of light years out. And so I have photos of the Andromeda galaxy, which also consists other constellations, including the constellations of Perseus. In Andromeda, I'm seeing a lot of green lights. And these lights are so far back, so behind Andromeda. When you zoom up into these photos, the big objects become very blurry, but notice that this very small objects start becoming very clear. And this is how I work on, there's maybe one planet or celestial object in this photo that will be ever so clear that we'll be able to zoom up really close. So that beautiful nebula snowball. So we're talking about planetary nebulae. There are variable stars here in the constellation of Andromeda. There are planets around certain trinary star systems, binary star systems, clusters. Like in many constellations, I believe probably all constellations have certain nebulae, but I don't know enough about them. I'm learning a lot about them now. But this filtering and these ways of filtering them, it's just absolutely exquisite. And I did the reverse cycle. See, I started backward. Look at this snowball nebula. And if it's not the nebula, sorry, it's the biggest blue object in Andromeda. That I can confirm it. And I've been looking it up, and yes, they're saying it's the NGC 766 So it's the blue snowball nebula. And there's another blue object a bit smaller beside it. There are red fire objects, pink objects, green objects, a lot of yellow objects, just absolutely amazing. And the spheres that we're seeing and the small little objects that you're seeing could be anywhere, my friends, from 10 million astronomical units out there. And this is where Andromeda is, right here on the top. And like I say, when I'm looking at it in the sky, I was looking at it way up in the sky, and then I later on found out, like a dumbass, that it was the Milky Way that was overhead, and the constellations are always changing, right? And depending on winter or summer, but Andromeda is below the horizon, and the more north you get, or south, I believe, or north, sorry, you will have to look lower to be able to see the constellation of Andromeda. In the constellation of Andromeda, the blue snowball, NGC 7662, also known as the Blue Snowball Nebula or Snowball Nebula, is a planetary nebula. Ooh, birthing planets. How about that? Awesome. Nebula located in the constellation of Andromeda. The distance to this nebula is not known with any real accuracy according to the ScaleNet Piezo catalog. The distance of NGC 7662 is about 1,800 light years. The actual diameter, 20,000 astronomical units. In a more recent survey of the brighter planetaries, increasing the actual size to 0.8 light years, nearly 50,000 astronomical units. It has a faint central star that is variable with a magnitude range of 12 to 16. The central star is a bluish dwarf with a continuous spectrum and a computed temperature of, get this, about 75,000 kelvins. The nuclei of the planetary nebulae are among the hottest stars known. I'm trying to get as much information about just this one photo, which I'm realizing it's never ending, but it's okay because I go back and I make more videos. Messier objects, guys. What are they? Look them up. Messier. They're in many constellations. They're unknown celestial objects that are massive proportionally compared to the size of our solar system. And it's just extraordinary to see all these anomalies. And many of these surfaces that they're like metal, the metallicity of the areas, floating debris, or the debris fields are filled with metal pieces, metal fragments. And Andromeda, of course, one of the 48 constellations, um, Alpha Andromedae, it's a binary star system. You see it in this photo. We see it's part of Pegasus, while Gamma Andromedae, colorful binary, and a popular target for amateur astronomers. Yes, very red, massive giant. You can see like 6 or 7 massive giants in this photo. Absolutely extraordinary. M110, M32, M31. I'm shooting these numbers out, but you can look them up because they're very interesting. Each one of them that I'm saying. NGC 891 lie within Andromeda. The Blue Snowball Nebula, which I showed you, planetary nebula, visible in a telescope as a blue circular object. Fabrice Soal, a contributor that I forgot to add on the list. Well, I added him on the list on the website and on the page, and I nice message welcoming him to the community even. But imagine me not putting it on the videos for the past few weeks. Regis Weishweg, brother, thanks so much. Love you, man, for giving me the heads up on this. Really sorry, Mr. Swall. Welcome to the community. It's all good, and he's very humble about it. I spoke to him on a social media, and he told me, "Wow, like no problem there, Bruce, and greatly appreciated." So welcome, brother, to the community, and more to come, guys. Andromeda. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.